Okay, so hi everyone. Good morning. So this is our fourth session together. Here we are going to learn about, um, we're going to continue the discussion of displaying the data. So by that I mean um, displaying the data, making a chart, making a graphs to visualize the data, and we'll learn about something called five number summary, and that's that's like the basic I guess summary report for numerical or quantitative data. All right, so um, we're going to jump right into what we left off last session. So just to refresh your memory, we did categorical categorical data, and we established a chart, right? So we have frequency here, and we have relative frequency. And just to remind you, um, relative frequency adds up to 1. That's always the case. And these we get by dividing the frequency um, by the total number. And again, here we lock the value here, right? That's because when we want to drag the value down, so we don't have to manually do everything, you can get the same value for B5. If you don't put this, it's gonna shift down, and you're gonna have B3 here, B3 and B6, and we don't want that, right? So we do this, and we just don't. I mean, it's possible to do 152 divided by 280. Since we have the number, it will give you the same number, right? It's, it looks different because it's rounded up, but if you look at the number, it's the same, right? But we don't want to do that. Why? Because what if we want to change this number? Say I we did this survey again, and we for example, we interviewed um, other people, and let's see, we got 241 supporters, we got 88 neutral, and say we got a no I don't know, 104 opposition. Then as you can see, these numbers change as we change these numbers, right? Because these are linked to the cell, not the number. You see this? So this number changes while this number doesn't change. That's why we want to use, we want to build up the model. And this is exactly how we build up the model. We use the reference of the cell instead of the value, right? So that's where we left off. And now we want to make a chart. This is actually very simple. Um, if you look at the tabs, here it says insert, right? Insert, go to insert tab, and then here we run into a chart section, right? And for what is it? For um, sorry, for categorical, categorical data, we want to use a pie chart, and we're going to use something else too, but um, let's focus at the moment on the pie chart. So pie chart looks like this, a circle with little pies, and we're going to use this chart. So first of all, we're going to select all the relative frequencies, and we're not going to include this because that's the total, and then we're going to click the pie chart. And you can choose like 3D or 2D donut shape, but we're just going to stick with the 2D. And then, okay, let me scroll this down. And then we get a pie chart. Let me make this a little smaller. It's way too big. Right? So here we get our pie chart. And this is exactly how it looks like. It didn't see it didn't label the support, neutral, opposition, but you can change that also. Alright, so we're gonna change the label now. Find my pen. Okay, so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna double click, no, right click on the chart. So computer is being very slow. So let's, here it says select data, right? You can choose that. So now we see the data for the chart, right? So data is right here. But what we want to do is change these numbers. We don't want numbers, but we want the responses, right? So we can say, you can label the axis. So we can edit here, go to edit, and it says axis label range. And these are the labels that we want: support, neutral, and opposition, oppose. So choose that right here, right? And then click OK. So now we have support, neutral, and oppose. So you can click OK, and then it gives you the label. And also you can change the title. You can say poll result. Oh, that's kept. So poll result, right? And that is it. So it's pretty simple. I know I give you a homework assignment similar to this. So why don't we try this? I'll give you about 3 to 5 minutes. Actually 3 minutes should be enough, right? So I'll give you 3 minutes, and please open up your file, open up your homework file, so we can work on those. And I want you to make a chart, make a pie chart. Make a pie chart for your homework, okay? So please do that now. I am going to open up my file as well, so 3 minutes from now. So please open up your file. I'm not sure if your computers are open, but please go ahead and let's do that right now. Okay, I hope you guys are almost done with the um, almost done making the chart. Um, okay, so why don't we move on? Let's just go over what we did for homework. Let's see. Alright, so this was the homework assignment. Let's just make it a little bigger so we can see. Um, okay, so this was number 1, right? The following table shows how workers in one department get to work. So these are the mode of transportation, right? And these are the frequencies, right? You were supposed to calculate the relative frequency, and this was really easy, right? Because we we do here, as you can see, we do frequency divided by total, and we also put a lock, right? We put a dollar sign in between, so we, as we move down, right, this value changes. C4 changes because it went down, but this doesn't change. So the dollar signs locks the value, right? It doesn't change. Okay, so we constructed a table. This is the total sum of these 4 values, and same for the relative frequency. And now we're gonna here we're going to drag these values again and insert a pie chart. Go to insert and then click the pie chart. 2D is fine. Make it a little smaller again so we can see. So alright, so we have this. Okay, so I think no, let's not do that. Okay. Alright, so this is the pie chart, and we want to label these again. So you would right click on this chart, okay, and select data, right? And then data is already in, but we want to change these numbers. So edit this, the horizontal, right? And we want to label it as drive alone, carpool, right bus, other, not the total, right? So if you do this, we get a pie chart. And it's always nice to change these names. Let's see, mode of transportation. Okay, so that was it. It's pretty simple, right? Okay. All right. So, um, in this problem, okay, so recorded here are the blood types. Oh, I made a typo here. It's not a blood, but a blood type. Okay, blood type. Of 40 persons who have volunteered. I'm sorry, there are a lot of typos here. Not volunteered, but volunteered. Who have volunteered um, to donate blood at Plasma Center. Okay, so we have these values. I'm not sure how you did it. If you are familiar with Excel, you could have used a function. If not, it was okay to count these, right? So if you counted them all, you would have gotten these values. So A, they were 18, B were 4, there were 2 ABs and 16 O's. Okay, but I will show you another way to do this. I would say the most efficient way of doing this is using a function. I told you that Excel has a lot of functions built in, so it's always great to use those functions. Right, so let's see what we did. Okay, let's see what I did. So for frequency, without counting them all, because it's a really hassle to count them all. And say if you have a million of them, you're not gonna spend whole day counting them all, right? There should be a more efficient way of doing this, and that is the count function. All right, so it has a function built in, and it's counting. So yeah. So the function name is countif. Here you see it, right? Countif. And first we're going to, so if you read it here, it says countif parentheses range comma criteria. Okay, so first we pick a range, and range is obviously, okay, let me write this down again. So equals, right? Again, count if. So you're counting if certain criteria is met. So parenthesis range, and range we're talking about the data, right? So oopsie, let's do it again. Oops, cancel. All right, so count if, not of, if, parentheses, and then we're gonna choose all these data, right? So you're gonna drag these data down, right? These are the ranges that we are interested in. So it is there, and then if once you're done, you put a comma, right? So that is already set. And if you see here, range is already done. Oops. Okay, so range is already done, and we're moving on to criteria. And criteria, what do we mean by criteria? We are counting, right? It's going to go through all these entries and count if and only if it says A, because we're interested in blood type A, right? So we're going to count off, here it's O, here it's O, so we're not going to count. Oh, here's A, so we're going to count 1. Then next is B, and next is A, so we're going to count 2. So this is a countif function. And criteria obviously is when the cell is A, right? The cell has A. So how do we represent that? We're going to put a quotation mark and then equals A, right? And close the parenthesis, close the quotation mark and then close the parentheses. Okay, so this is the countif function. Let me just, I'm gonna screenshot this. So here. Did it work? No, it didn't work. Let me try this again. Screen clipping. Okay, so let me see if it's there. Okay, so it is here. Let me just move this around. Okay. Cut this out, and we're going to make another one. So alright. So this is here. So whenever you're having a trouble going through this, just look through the notes so you have a reference. Let me just write it down again. Here. Where's my pen? Okay, so here we learned about countif function, right? So countif, right? This only counts the number when criteria is met. Okay, in this case we said the criteria here is when, right, when the cell equals A, right? That's when we count the number. So it's gonna want to go through OOA. So that's 1, BA. So that's 2, and here 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. That's how you use countif function. Okay. So going back to the Excel file. So countif, right? And what we can do, we learned this before, right? If you drag this down, okay, so if you go to the right down corner, you can drag this down, but there is a problem, right? So let's look at this. Count if, and then it says the range went down by 1 because we shifted the cell. Excel is very smart again, so it went down, but we don't want that, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go here, and then what do we do? What do we do to lock the value? You press F4, right? For both. F4. And then enter. If we drag this down, we're gonna get a value, but there is another problem with it because we're looking for B, value of B, but number of B, but it has A. So we're just gonna change this to B. Right? Same thing here. The ranges are all set, but here it's not A, but it's AB. Here, it's not A, but it's O. Right? Alright, so we got all the frequencies, and same thing here, we did this before. This is summing all the frequencies to get total, right? And relative frequency is always easy because we're gonna choose the frequency divided by total, and we're gonna lock the value, and we're just going to drag this down, right? And here A can be summing all the values up, and it equals 1. Alright, so this is how you use the countif function. Alright, so what we can do now is we're going to create a chart, pie chart again. So we're gonna drag these values, the relative frequency, and press pie chart. Let's make it 2D again, and make it a little smaller. So this is the pie chart. And again, we're going to change the legend. So right click, go to select data, and then here, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to change this to A, B, and O. So here, okay, and we're all set. So this is how you change the legend, and then we're gonna name this blood types. Okay. Blood types. Okay, and that's how you do it. Right? So let's just go over what we did just now. Okay. Let's go with this one. All right. No, this is not it. This one. Okay. So this is what we did, right? We went over countif function, and let's go over it again. So count. Okay. So how do you do this? If you equal, you press equal and then count, type in count. If open parentheses, you're gonna select range, okay, and then comma. Oops, again. All right, so comma, and what? You're gonna open a quotation mark, and then you're gonna write down the criteria. Close and close parentheses, and you're gonna get the number. Okay? And when you are dragging this down here, right, you have to lock this value. Okay? This has to be locked. And how do you lock it? You press F4 button, or you can put a dollar sign in between. $2, $3.61. Okay, and then you drag it down. So that's how you use countif function, and that's how you make a pie chart. So that was pretty easy, right? I think so. Countif function is really useful later on. So just I think you'll be used to it by the time we go over this. Okay, so I do want you to work on an example. Okay, so why don't we do this? I'm going to give you an example similar to this where you can use countif function. Okay, so I'm gonna give you that. I'm going to give you about, I would say, 5 minutes to work on it. So let's just practice this because this is really useful. Okay, you are going to open up the class activity file and work on it. All right.